Are you productive in your workspace? Do you find that your surroundings influence how productive you are? We're going to be discussing what Ryan and I do in our personal workspaces to improve our productivity. And by the end of the episode, you'll get to find out a little hack that Ryan does that helps him prepare for events a lot quicker. Stay tuned. Are you struggling to fill your calendar with events? Stop letting your photo booths collect dust on the weekends. Google Ads is one of the most effective ways to acquire customers, and it's how I get the majority of my business. We created a program especially for photo boothers that show you how you can use Google Ads to fill up your calendar. Check it out at courses.superboothers.com.
Hello and welcome to Super Boothers. My name is Ryan.
And I'm Ismail.
And you're listening to the Photo Booth Business Podcast,
where we like to tell stories and teach lessons that help you grow your business.
And go off on tangents. So speaking of tangents, I just was in Houston.
Oh, we're starting with a tangent.
Yes, we're starting with a tangent.
Nice.
Kind of. Yes and no. So we were having some work done on the house whenever we left. And trust me, this is like I have a point, I promise.
I like how you have to say that now.
I know, because everyone was like, you go off on tangents. I'm like, whatever, listener survey. No, but then so a tangent on the tangent, someone wrote, oh my gosh, I love it when you go off on tangents, because then somehow it always circles back to the original point. And they're like, oh my gosh, I just had an aha moment. So yes, my tangents have a point.
The one person who said they liked your tangent, you printed it out, you framed it.
That is all I need. So we're in Houston and we had some work done on the house while, we were gone, came back to the house and they came back and I was like, wait a minute. So I have contractors here and I have tools at my disposal. I'm going to redo my office again. So I completely dumped it. And I mean, dumped it. Like I literally ripped everything off the wall. I spent 2 days. It was like Trading Spaces, I swear. Do you remember that show?
No, I didn't really.
You don't remember? Okay, maybe I'm dating myself. So anyways, I fixed the walls. I redid everything. I built my desks. I didn't buy them because I apparently can do furniture building is now going to be another thing offered by Super Boothers. You can buy my desk at ryansalinas.com. So I got a completely brand new office space. I'm so excited.
Now, I think it's going to be the topic of our discussion today.
This is Workspaces, if you haven't figured it out.
Yeah, it seems like you do this often, right? Because you said that you redid your office again. And is that something that you have a routine of doing every year or so? Or?
I don't know if it's routine every year, but most definitely I absolutely get bored. And I know that it's just always been part of my mindset. Okay, I got to mix up something a little bit. Otherwise, I think whenever you just change up your space, you feel a little bit more invigorated and you feel pumped again. And I don't know, that's just it's just my process and what kind of gets me going. So I don't know. I've just always kind of done it. I don't think there's ever a set time, but I will say this. It was very rare that I completely dumped it. Literally there was 2 strings hanging from the ceiling and that's literally all that was left in the room.
Now, do you feel a difference immediately after?
Oh my gosh. I felt so powerful after I got my new desk. I stained it. So it's a beautiful mahogany. I bought a whole bunch of, accessories to charge all my stuff in one little thing. I'm super big on hiding cords. I think that might be a photo booth thing, but I have this little contraption that I built underneath my desk to hide the cords.
Yeah, I saw the picture.
Yeah, I love it. Oh, now I have to post it.
Sorry. Now I come at this from the opposite spectrum where I don't really care.
Seriously?
I don't think it really matters enough. I'm not going to say it doesn't matter. Right, because I've been in really awesome offices and cool environments where it feels nice. So it does matter, but it doesn't matter enough for me to go through the whole process that you did repeatedly.
Do you think that it affects your work whenever you have a creative space to work in? or not even a creative space, or just a productive space in general?
See, I don't know where you're coming at that question from, but my initial reaction is it doesn't make that big of a difference to me. Like if I want to get creative, or I go out and walk, I go outside.
Seriously?
I go somewhere.
Oh.
That's really how I mix things up.
Like
But when I
Barbados?
go, no, like down the street.
Oh, so not the Bahamas.
But right, because when I come to my computer to work, I'm so focused on doing the work that like it's nice that there's a nice environment around me, but I kind of block it out and I get zoned in.
Seriously? If my office isn't like clean, if I don't have like all my stuff within like an arm's reach, I feel like there's a hand chopped off. The one exception is I'm really good at writing in hotels. Like when I'm in a hotel, like I can actually write.
See, I find that on airplanes.
Oh, see, I agree with that one too. Like like airplanes are like a good time for me to like catch up on like big projects that I otherwise really can't tackle because there's no distractions except for like, the 450-pound person that's sleeping next to me that decided to rest his head on my shoulder. And I'm just like, whatever, he's tired.
But having said all that, I have tried some things, and I'm sure we'll get into that during this conversation. So I'm not knocking it without trying it. I did try it, but yeah, let's go on with the conversation and see where it goes.
So, do you have clocks in your workspace?
I don't have a clock, but the time is everywhere. It's on your phone. It's on your iWatch. It's in the bottom. It's on your screen somewhere.
But just from glancing, like, do you like have like? I don't pay attention to the clock on my computer.
So yeah, other than that, I do not have a clock in any of my workspaces.
So one thing that I do have is my computer every hour on the hour will like announce like what time it is. Because have you ever had, so this is a little hack that I'll kind of post. Have you ever just been like working and you look at, and you're like, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. How did that happen?
That happens to me all the time. I forget to eat. Like my wife has to remind me.
Oh my gosh.
To eat.
I made food in the microwave. Seriously? And I forgot that the food was in the microwave. And by the time I remembered, I went to go get it and it was freezing cold.
So again, though, on this point, right? We lose we forget to eat. We forget that you have food in the microwave. How much does it matter, the environment? You're so zoned into the work that you forget about everything else around you, right? This proves that.
I just have my process. Like I don't even know where to begin. Like I cannot be like in a happy, productive, good mood if like my workspace is horrible. Like again, so I've only had one employer my entire life. And that was whenever I did catering. And with they like provided me with a desk, provided me with a computer, chair, whatever. I had about 3 days of that. I came in on the weekend. I dumped everything, brought in my own stuff. I was like, hey, listen, like, can I just bring in my own? They're like, yeah, sure. Like, do whatever. It's your office. Completely dumped it, brought in my own stuff. Otherwise, I can't work like that. Like, there was a desk from easily 1964.
So then let me dig into this a little bit more. When do you feel the effect of the environment? Is it while you're working? Is it when you first walk into the room? Is it when you take a break and look up?
As I'm speaking to you right now, I have flowers on my desk. Granted, I was a florist, so it's just easier for me to obtain it. And it's not like, going out of my way to go get it. It's just kind of always like readily available. Like I have to have flowers on my desk. Like, I don't know if I don't know why that is. And there are people listening that are like, Ryan, that's not relatable. And I completely get that. But that's the thing is like, that's the thing on, some of my Jewish friends, Shabbat dinner. It's natural and to always have flowers on that table. Like it's part of the religion. This is just part of my work religion. Like I just have to have flowers just to be like productive and be like, oh, that's nice. Like, and it just puts me in a good mood. And if I'm in a bad mood and working, that doesn't go over very well for me or for anyone around me or anyone that I'm emailing.
Now, I think, and I know you had some points you wanted to get through, so I hope I'm not jumping ahead, but for me, I definitely relate to being inspired by your environment, but the way I work is that I just change workspaces. Like, so will you like I take my laptop into different areas. So I do a lot of work. I've done that, but that's not something that happens that often. But like I've done work in my car. I've done work in my backyard. I've done work on my kitchen table. my countertop bar stool area. So at a coffee shop, I just get up and move. I get up and go somewhere else. I go sit on the couch. I go sit over here. I go sit over there. So it's not really worth me investing all that effort into changing my office space because I get up and move to get inspiration. Now, if it was nicer, maybe I wouldn't do that, to your point. That's just what works for me. I like to get up and move.
So let me ask you this. So with Photo Booth and you, and I know you just really handle like the sales and marketing part of it and not necessarily like the servicing and producing of it. What does that person's space look like? Like whenever they're like working on the booth, is that like a set space? Is that just like, how does that work?
Yes. I have an office that I built in my home. So yeah, it's an office space. There's like dual monitors. It's pretty basic. So, but I have tried a couple things. One thing, because I believe sitting is the new smoking.
Are you kidding
I got that Varidesk. Yeah, seriously, guys, you can Google sitting, new smoking, and you'll see all these studies about how bad sitting is because we do it so much. Yeah, seriously, it's a whole health epidemic. So I got it's called a Varidesk. So it's basically like a platform you put on your desk. You put the monitors on top of it, the keyboard on it, and when you want to stand, you kind of grab it by the side and lift it up. So the desk follows your position where you're sitting or standing. It's supposed to be good for your health.
So you stand at your desk?
I actually use that a lot. I would like to stand more, but I definitely use that like on a daily basis.
Really? Okay.
Maybe
I
like
would love that, and I've
time.
seen that there are places that like have like the whole desk that will move up. But the Varidesk that you're talking about is like a separate apparatus that you can like order like aftermarket.
Yeah, it's not cheap, but it's funny that the place where I really saw this type of desk was at the Imaging Spectrum office. And I immediately bought one after I got back. Everyone seemed to have one there, and I saw them all using it, and I just thought it was awesome. So I got it. And I actually do find it helpful. Like, I'm a person that has a lot of back pain because I sit so much.
Really? See, I was looking into a Herman Miller chair, which is like, there was like a thing a while back where like it was like all the rage with like tech people, like everyone, you just had to have a Herman Miller chair, which I guess is supposed to be like easier on your back. And I will say this, there are times where I will work for hours at a time. I will get up and like I will have issues with my hips. So for example, I don't drive as often as I used to. I have a driver now, but whenever I did drive, I would always like lean on my right side. And whenever I went to the chiropractor, my chiropractor was like, do you drive a lot? I was like, yeah, I live in Texas. I drive to Houston, San Antonio, Austin, and Dallas once a week. And whenever you do that, your like hips get out of alignment. So I would walk like, Quasimodo to the car and just, it was an issue. And I didn't realize it was so much of a health problem.
I definitely relate to that. I have the same problem where I lean to the right while driving. So because of that and a variety of factors like that, I decided it was worth the investment to get a standing desk. I was worried that I wouldn't use it that often, but it's been over a year and I still use it almost every day. So I'd suggest people check that out.
One thing that I did want to talk about is for people that work in groups, I've always found that it was really good to have like a large communal space. Like whenever I was a florist, we had like one main central desk where we'd have like all our meetings. I just really found like that was like almost like the heartbeat of the business. Like we would have lunch there, like everyone would break out. We'd have like our stand-up, daily stand-up meeting where everyone kind of goes around and just says, hey, here's what's going on today. Here's what I'm doing. Here's what I'm working on. Here's who I'm waiting to get back with me. Like all that stuff. Like I really found out that main table, it was actually really sad because whenever like I like sold that table, like I felt like a part of me was like dying a little bit. Like I was just really attached to furniture.
Now it's for me, I'm in New York, so I have a winter season. It's probably a lot easier to do this down where you are. But I remember even LA Photo Party's office in California, I really like having the communal space be outdoors. I find being outside, being in nature, hearing birds chirping, having the sun shining.
Did the mice help you whenever you clean?
Has a positive impact, especially when working with groups. So I definitely prefer to do that whenever possible. Like No, but the birds do. The birds definitely do. I actually have a lot of my meetings like I have a nice backyard set up with a nice seating area. I have them back there. I find it awesome. Like that's the way I want to do it.
So I will say this for like the perfect workspace, especially with us because we're really like, I mean, we're most definitely in a creative business. I really feel like all the desks that we have really like need to like be on like wheels. I think like having a space that like can transform to whatever your needs are, especially if you have like a small space. Like I think it's always good to kind of like rearrange stuff. There are times where, and actually I'm doing this tomorrow. So I have a wall that I face that I'm installing a ring light permanently to where I don't have to like break out all the equipment just to do a test run. So that's kind of something that I'm doing to like just make me a little bit more productive. Because I think about like how much time I waste, like, you know, going to storage, getting equipment, like setting it up, like doing a test. Like I could easily waste, you know, 30, 45 minutes, an hour, just kind of like getting my act together. Whereas now all I have to do is just flip it on because it's permanently on the wall.
So you mentioned storage
meaning,
space.
is it organized?
I'm curious. Do you
Yes.
have the same
So I
level of
have,
care with your storage space?
a lot of very large shelving that I refuse to
Yes.
get rid of. I might be a little bit of a hoarder. Only because like this is actually something that's kind of interesting. So whenever I was a florist, again, I had a lot of like just decor items. I have a 20 by 20 space full of furniture and candelabras and glassware and just random decor that I have not used in quite some time because somehow in like my mind, I think I'm going to quit photo booths and I'm going to be a florist again. I've probably wasted so much money in like storage rent than I probably should have. But yeah, for the most part, it's pretty much organized. Like everything's in boxes. Everything is like, there's like a linen section. There's like a glassware section. Like there's a lot of stuff, but it's organized.
See, I think the workspace that we were talking about in the first part of this is that it's more important to be like inspiring and creative, whereas the storage space is better to focus on like efficiency and organization. It's kind of two separate purposes, so it's two kind of different things. I am the type of person that's very organized, even with storage. However, the people that I work with are not like that, so it's really a catastrophic mess.
See, and that's another thing. I'm kind of a little anti-paper. So like my business is entirely paperless. Like literally everything is done online. So much so that I'm like whenever like I do like, you know, pull sheets or time sheets or whatever, it's all done online. Like I really don't print out anything. I think there's one attendant that likes me to print out, hey, here's where you're going, here's what you're doing. And it's the one person that I do it for. But other than that, everyone is just always like on their phone.
No, I definitely relate to that too. I limit paper as much as possible. Now, in your workspace, do you have anything that you put up that is something that motivates or inspires you, or is it more decorative?
You know, I've said this before, way back whenever I would get published, I would like take the cover of the magazine, frame it, put it on the wall. And that was just kind of very motivating for me. It's not motivating for me anymore. I think the only thing that I really find motivating is, again, I use my Hue lights and IFTTT and Zapier and all that other stuff where whenever I get a lead, a light flashes. Whenever someone makes a payment, a light turns green. And it's actually turning blue now because I got tired of seeing green. But again, like light cues, I think just are very motivating for me versus something like really material. But yeah, that's something that I think works for me. And another thing, like I find that I'm really productive when I listen to music. I used to be like, I'd have everything blaring. Like I'd have a YouTube thing going on. I have the TV on. There's music on my phone and there's something on my laptop. Like it was all just like, I needed the noise. Now I actually have a little record player in the corner of my office and I just kind of listen to, you know, whatever records. And it just kind of helps me get into like a little zone or whatever.
That's something interesting because I actually do the same where when I really have to get in the zone and really knock a lot of stuff out, I do find myself putting on like headphones and listening to music just as a way to block everything else out so that I can solely focus. And again, it goes back to the major point that I'm making, that how important is the environment if you really block everything out when it comes time to actually do work.
But that's the thing is I have to I travel so much that I crave routine. So whenever I'm in my own space, like that's when I feel I can be like most productive. And like, granted, it also like if I have a big project, it takes me like 2 or 3 days just to kind of like think about doing the project until I actually can do it. Like I am best under so much pressure in such like a hard circumstance that like I really appreciate a deadline. Like I work really hard under the gun. And I think that's why I still procrastinate, because I'm so good at it.
And on the topic of the motivation, I actually have tried, I hear about these things like inspiration boards or vision boards or whatever you want to call them. And I will admit, I tried to put some together. So one thing I'm big on, there's like biographies and reading stories about people I admire. I'm all about that. I devour biographies. I listen to podcasts about inspirational people. So I created this board that's right to the right of me when I'm sitting at my desk. And I have specific pictures I put of people I admire that are up there.
Oh, I'm up there. How sweet.
I did not say that you were up there, but if you want to believe that, that's okay.
Whatever.
But for example, like just one that comes up, like Elon Musk. I have Elon Musk up there, and it's from an interview.
Is there a big heart over it?
No, there's no heart. Now, the reason
I have to see a picture of this.
The reason I have that up there is because like everybody has a quality that I admire, and his was persistence. And there's a quote on it where he said, "I'd never give up. I'd have to be dead or incapacitated." So that was in response to a reporter asking him if he ever considered giving up, because his story is fascinating. He was like almost failed a number of times. So I put that up to remind me in those moments where I feel like stopping, don't give up. And then I have something else like totally irrelevant, like Kobe Bryant in the gym at night working out, because he was notorious for being insanely having a crazy work ethic where he would just go and shoot basketball until 3-4 o'clock in the morning. And that's there to remind me of work ethic. So I have little things like that. Now I feel like I should update it more often. I don't. And I don't look at it that often. It like blends into the background. So unless I stop and stand up and look at it, I think about it. Otherwise, it's kind of just part of the background.
I got rid of mine. Like I had a board where, if I'd get a thank you note, I pin it up on there, or, I take a picture with one of my clients, I put it up on there. It got a little, whenever I did, the marathon, I put my medal up there. And it was always just right behind my desk. And if you look through videos, my Facebook Live videos at my desk, you'll see it. I kind of got rid of it. And I think it's just because I felt it a little too cluttery.
That's exactly where I was going to go next. I think what I'm trending towards is a more minimalistic design, because the clutter bothers me like that. So decorating the workspace doesn't seem to be worth it for me, but having clutter and having it be unorganized seems to negatively affect me. So having a clean, minimalistic design where it's just like there's nothing there is something that I think helps me, because there's not anything to distract me. I don't know if you relate to that.
I think a little bit. Whereas, so my previous office it was very much super ultra modern. Like the style of work I did, even with urban events, I think to some degree is a little bit more like modern, or as one of my friends would say, very techno. It was very like mainstream and streamline. I guess that's a better word. And it would always be like super glossy white, super glossy black, like pops of, like high contrast lighting, like that kind of stuff. Whereas my home and my space is really very like dark browns and woods and like that kind of thing. I think that's something a little shocking about people, because they don't see me as like the homey rusticy type. Like, because all of my branding is very much like ultra modern, MoMA, like that kind of thing.
So we talked about your workspace. We talked about your storage space. What about the digital workspace? Is there anything that you do in regards to organizing or decorating your digital workspace, your screen, your computers?
I wish I was better at that. Truthfully, my workspace is like a 17-year-old girl's car. I mean, it is so cluttered. There's stuff everywhere.
I mean, yeah.
It is no, my desktop is garbage. It's not organized. It's horrible. I wish I was better at it.
That's definitely something that I do too, is I default save everything to my desktop and organize it later. But I think when I think about my digital workspace, I think more about like the tools that I use and how I get my work done. So for example, one thing we mentioned a while back is Trello. I find that app very useful for people that work with teams or you just want to organize the tasks that you're working on. I would definitely suggest checking out Trello. It's a can't.
So what about Slack?
Oh, Slack's awesome. I use Slack every day, all day. It's supposed to be like a replacement for email, kind of, but not really, where you're communicating with your team members. And it's like an integral part of my work every day, Slack. It's better than chat. You can create different work groups. You can attach files in there. It's a more collaborative chat email hybrid type of thing. Have you used it?
I'm about to. Yeah.
Yeah. And the cool thing with it is that you can integrate with stuff like Trello and all sorts of other apps. So, however, if you're working by yourself mostly, or if it's like you and your wife or your spouse or one other person, I don't know how useful it is to have a whole separate app for Slack. Like you can just communicate with text.
Hey, get over here.
And email.
Lovely. So what I would like everyone to do is go to our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/superwithers, and post a photo of what your workspace looks like. Ismail will go first.
Which one?
Whichever one you want. Take your pick.
That'd be awesome. That's actually a great idea. I want to see what everyone else's workspace looks like. That's cool.
Lovely, lovely. Next week on Super Boothers, if they screw up, if we screw up, it's all covered in there. So on there, for example, like a little snippet is, I say, if you do not complete a questionnaire, and we send it out 3 times automatically if they don't complete it. If a questionnaire is not completed, you get a 2x6 print with no customization. That's what you get.